I don't know if you've had Pittsburgh yet this year, but
no.
So then I asked in the caveat the best team you've seen this year with your own two eyes, Thursday night, Sunday afternoons.
I will say that the best overall team that jumps to mind right now has been Tampa Bay, as far as what they have or what they're capable of being on offense, and then how good they are on defense.
Huh.
I just haven't seen that kind of balance. But Pittsburgh's there because they play. They're obviously, when Ben's upright and healthy, they're really good on offense, and then with their defense as dominant as they can be.
So KC.
New Orleans, I like them with a healthy Drew Brees. I'll withhold judgment until we see what they're able to do with Taysom, like we talked about. But yeah, I like Indianapolis, but offensively, can they be explosive enough? I think is kind of the question. But that defense, it goes back to Nick Saban. It really jumped out at me a few weeks ago when he said great defenses no longer beat great offenses. And so, as great as Indianapolis has been, do they have enough firepower on offense? But I like that group overall as well.
Yeah, I know, and you saw KC and that kind of crazy, reconfigured schedule earlier in the year against Buffalo. And I do want to just pull on that Tampa strand a little bit here because we had Bruce Arians on Tuesday and basically said to him, Kurt Warner looks at the offense, says Brady's clearly not comfortable in it yet. And would you agree with that? He said yes, he agreed with it. And I asked, well, when do you think he's going to get comfortable? He joked, but one of those not really joking jokes of next spring is what he said.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I just don't know that they can get enough time on task at practice in order to have it translate. There's been moments, and we've had several Tampa Bay games already. Tom's a friend. I've had some pretty open conversations with him. It's a different philosophy as far as how he's reading things. That's taken a real adjustment for him. He's used to reading things short to deep, and Bruce Arians reads everything deep to short. And my experience as a quarterback is it's dependent on the play as to whether you read it deep, trying to take a shot, or whether you're coming underneath. But when you're used to one style and then you have to change it, and you've been doing it for 20 years one way, it's been a big adjustment. The thing I noticed when I watched Tom, Rich, is that here's a guy who rarely would take sacks. I mean, he would unload the football. He always had an outlet on where to go with the ball. I saw him in games where they couldn't block anybody when he was at New England, and yet he would throw it away, and then when the play was there, he'd make the play. I've never seen him get hit so much as he's been hit in Tampa. And the interceptions, I mean, that's just – and then you look back and Jameis Winston, all the interceptions that he had last year, you start to ask yourself, well, how much of it is the quarterback? How much of it is the way in which they do things? The high risk, no biscuit type offense that we hear Bruce Arians talk about. But I agree. I think Tom has handled everything remarkably well, in my opinion. But I don't think he's really comfortable with everything yet either. But as we know, they are extremely explosive, and if he has games like we've seen at times, we had them against the Green Bay Packers, they look terrific. Other times it's not been quite so good. But if they can have those days when they're playing well on offense, shoot, they can play with anybody.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.